Hi, everybody. This is SAAD. Earlier this morning, I was made aware of an article that was written in the New York Times, the venerable New York Times. Here's the title of the article. I broke up with her because she's white. When it comes to dating, I'd rather not think about race, but that's been hard to avoid. The New York Times has been quite a platform for self-flagellation or collective Munchausen or victimology poker or identity politics and so on. I recently read an article from the New York Times where a gentleman was saying, all us guys are bad. We should all, be self-flagellating because of our maleness and so on. I also recently read on this show an article in the New England Journal of Medicine where a white female physician was apologizing for being white because, that's a pathology to be white. I also read an article which I think has now been taken down at the McGill Tribune, perhaps in part because of my clip, where I read an article by a graduate student, a person of color, who felt that she was unable to pursue her academic trajectory because McGill University, one of my alma maters, had this real serious problem. There were white guys in the political science department that were making her feel unsafe. So it is now part of the zeitgeist of our culture to perfectly, fully, openly be hateful towards one group of people. But that's okay. It's not racist because those people are white, so it's okay. So with that tradition in mind, let me read you the full article and I'll pepper it with whatever relevant comments I can think of. All right, so when it comes to dating, I'd rather not think about race, but that's been hard to avoid, by Christopher Rivas. Okay, let me just get to it. I think I broke up with my last girlfriend because she's white. Actually, no, I definitely broke up with her because she's white. Replace the word white with black and ask yourself if the New York Times would publish it. First, some history. When I was a child, watching my pops get ready to go out was something to behold. He would spend hours preparing his mask every morning for whatever crowd, person, or community he faced. A fresh shave followed by a ton of cologne. He's Dominican and it's important to him that people know he's coming and know he's there. That's not just called Dominican, it's called every person wishes to be valued. And then blow drying his hair to get that perfect coif. Even years later, my pops still took longer to get ready than my mother and sister combined, delicately taking a black Sharpie to any stray grays that might pop up in his goatee. I'd ask him, why? What's it all for? My pops would explain that as a young man in the Dominican Republic, you had to work so hard perfecting yourself, preparing your mask, so that when a young European or American woman came through, she might choose you, as he would put it, might take you home with her, like that was your only way out. Female mate choice is the mechanism by which sexual selection is instantiated across endless species. Within the human context, female mate choice is also a fundamental driver of human evolution. So the fact that he had to do certain things so that women would choose him, it's called being a male. Later, he made his way to New York City where he met my mother, who is Colombian. He was married now and no longer had to be chosen. Right, because female mate choice and the fact that men will do anything to look better in the mating market is only restricted to a Dominican man. No other man has ever faced that mating conundrum. But habits ingrained in adolescence can be hard to break. So early on, I learned how important it was to be chosen, selected. Selected by whom became and remains my dilemma. There's this little field called evolutionary biology and evolutionary psychology where scientists spend quite a bit of their time studying this thing called mate choice, where people get selected. You could even look at the work of this really, really brilliant evolutionary scientist called Dr. Gad Saad, who's conducted research on mate selection. And it is not apparently restricted to just Dominican men. It's been a year since I broke up with my girlfriend, and I haven't told her the real reason. I talked around it, mumbling about how I was trying to figure out who I was or whatever. She didn't understand. I'm not sure I do either. There was nothing wrong with her at all. I don't really know what my tipping point was. It just kind of happened. At 30, I woke up one day, took a deep breath, looked at her and thought, quote, I don't think I can date white women anymore, close quote. Bravo. What a wonderful young man. Maybe I wouldn't have broken up with her if it hadn't been for all the judgment coming my way. Over the years, I have dated brown women and black women, but mostly white women. I hadn't thought about why that was, but when some brown and black people in my community started giving me a hard time about dating white women, I sensed they'd be happier if I stopped. Or if you had a spine, you wouldn't give a damn what people think about who you're dating. I grew up in a Jewish context where people were not happy if you didn't date a Jew. And guess what? I didn't give a damn. My life is my life, and I decide the person that I'm going to love or marry or have sex with. No one else makes that choice for me. That's called having a spine. Excuse me. Reading this is causing a buildup of phlegm in my chest. I also got weird vibes from some white people, namely the parents of the women I was dating, like the ones who, even after I'd been dating their daughter for 6 months, kept thinking I was from Puerto Rico. I've never even been to Puerto Rico. I think I'm going to pull out my self-flagellating belt. Or the ones who said upon meeting me, oh, I love Buena Vista Social Club. Yeah, for sure, that's a great movie, but so is Gladiator. And the ones who asked me if I speak Mexican. Yes, that is absolutely a thing. So is the father who opened the door and said, sorry, it's not taco night, and then closed it in my face only to open it again because he was just joking. My God, the horrors you've gone through. I mean, that puts this whole thing of us escaping execution in Lebanon in context compared to some idiot making a stupid joke. My God, you've lived to tell about it. Bravo. I've been with people in grocery stores who point to the dulce de leche and say, look, Chris, that's you. Actually, I'm lactose intolerant. What a hero. But the real reason I think I can no longer date white women isn't any of that. It's because in today's hashtag woke society, there is mad pressure to be hashtag woke, to be aware of the implications of whom you're attracted to and why, which means that in the eyes of others, the color of the women I date is a big deal. Like I'm the problem, like I'm betraying my people if I date white women. But I was taught that we were all one people. I see people watching me with a stink eye, noses turned up, as if they think black and brown people would somehow be better off if I dumped my white girlfriend. It's a lot of pressure. Along with each watchful eye, the whispers of, quote, pick a side, Chris, pick a side, close quote, fill my already noisy mind. You've lived through so much pain, Christopher. I started reading James Baldwin, Ta-Nehisi Coates, and other black and brown authors looking for guidance, a roadmap, help on what it means to be a brown man in the world. Like, yes, our bodies have been colonized. Yes, I am a child of blackness. Oh, no, no. No way. No way. I gotta read this again. Yes, our bodies have been colonized. Yes, I'm a child of blackness. Yes, the black body has done more for society than it has gotten in return. Yes, society seems to want to embrace a lot of things associated with blackness without actually being black. How did we get here? If everyone is so woke, why are things so terrible? Maybe everyone isn't so woke. I know It's so terrible to live in the US, the most free, the most democratic, the most modern country that the world has ever known, that a man with a Dominican dad can just walk the streets is a true act of courage, Christopher. Anyway, what am I supposed to do? How do I love as a brown body in the world in a way that makes everybody happy? I fell for a white woman and she fell for me. Simple as that. Yet I feel as if I'm doing the wrong thing by dating her. Or you don't have a spine. Am I the problem or is everyone else? You are the problem, and the racists who hate you for dating a white woman are also the problem. You're both morons. Do white women find me attractive, or do they see me as some exotic idea they should find attractive? I discuss this in my book. If you date a black woman because you're uniquely attracted to black women, then you are fetishizing the black body and you're a racist pig. If you don't date black women because you're not attracted to black women, then you are rejecting black women as though they are the other and not worthy of your love, and you are a racist pig. So in all states of the world, you are a racist pig. Castrate yourself and jump off the abyss into the darkness. No pun intended. Do I find white women attractive, or do I see them as some exotic idea I should find attractive? Do I even know whom I'm attracted to or why? I have to think my preferences were at least somewhat shaped by the ubiquitous image of Latin men as the lover, an image that's been shoved down my throat. You've lived through so much pain, Christopher. To live up to the stereotype of a lover must have been horrifying. Not because of what or whom we love, but as a way out, a way of being seen and of being saved. Like my pops said, maybe they'll choose you. Or this is what every man who enters the mating market spends most of his day thinking about. How could I get a woman to choose me? Also known as life. It's a message amplified by movies and TV, from quote, Save the Last Dance to Master of None, and dozens of other narratives that all feature in one way or another a black woman or brown man, a black or brown man being made better from being with a white woman. Since I was a child, I've internalized the idea that the hand I hold determines my worth more than my own hands. That my power is only as valuable as the person by my side. A whole system is coded within me. Why wasn't self-worth coded within me? Before I was born, my mother told my father she was pregnant at 3 a.m. on a New York City subway platform. She and my pops made a commitment to give us children everything they never had, to strive and achieve and provide for us. And in response to their aspirations, some in their world thought they were leaving their roots behind and trying to become something else. Those folks said to them, quote, "You trying to be white now?" Close quote. What does that mean, trying to be white? We've all heard it. Maybe not all of us. I've said it. If we think about it, it's really just a comment on power. Chico, you trying to have power now? This is published in the New York Times. Yes, I am. In truth, excuse me, the phlegm of BS is building in my chest. In truth, colorism has always been a thing. An aspiration to better the race has always been a thing. My grandmother and other grandmothers and mothers would warn us, quote, "Don't date someone darker than you. Don't date coarse hair, big lips, and big noses," close quote. I brought home a black girl in high school, and my aunt angrily mumbled, quote, Oh, do you see him in that negrita? Close quote. I should have spoken up. Quote, hey, yo, stop. I don't care about your damn opinions about how dark people are and how kinky their hair is. You ever look at old family albums? You ever look at me? You ever look at yourself? We ain't white. Not even close. Close quote. But I didn't say anything because you're a coward. Quote, pick a side, Chris. Pick a side. So here I stand trying to be woke and not dating white women and feeling kind of bad about that because I'm definitely dating and thinking that the decision to no longer date white women might not be my own, that any decision to choose a side doesn't help the whole hashtag woke thing, because how do we solve anything if we just separate and isolate? And also, I mean, oh my God. Also, I mean, a lot of white women are really cool. Oh, come on, man. Now next you're going to say that whites are human. It's ridiculous. Okay. Obviously, white women are cool. All women are cool. Cool is just a simple word. This is a grown-ups writing this. Not the word I want to be using right now. I don't just mean cool. I probably shouldn't even be talking about dating or not dating white women. Really? Ah, man, this isn't going where I want it to. Anyway, this is gonna need this. Anyway, this is me yearning, praying, journaling, writing, dialoguing, putting up a one-man show, wishing. My wife is in the next room probably knowing exactly what's happening in here. But anyways, let's go on. Wishing, trying to pick a side, wondering how to choose myself, and trying to wrap my head around this, hoping that I'm doing woke right, because something just doesn't feel right. Have you ever come across such pathetic nonsense? Let me help this idiot out and all other idiots who walk around with this kind of chip on their shoulders. Judge people as individuals. There are wonderful Jews and horrible Jews, wonderful purple people and horrible purple people. The way you get around identity politics is judging the merits and flaws of each individual as though they are distinct individuals. Have the spine to reject racism, whether it comes from your pops or moms or anybody else. I grew up in an environment that was insular, where you were supposed to only date Jews. But I had a very strong spine, which, as you can see, manifests itself today in the fact that I speak out against all sorts of bullshit. And I decided I didn't care to abide by those particular tenets within my community. So if you are against racism, you're against all forms of racism. You don't give a pass to racism when it is directed at those, bruh, disgusting white people. Rise above it and treat people as individuals. And now let me head out for a coffee with my wife and children, because I've wasted enough time on this idiot. Have a good Sunday, everybody.